Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. German banks requesting to custody Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Well, this sounds like progress to me. Isn't this the direction that we always knew things were going to head? Even if it's just an inkling of things to come, even if this is just on a small scale right now, where do you think this is all going to go away? The crypto asset class is here to stay, period. Even if I'm wrong about XRP, and I'm Mr. XRP bull, mind you, even if I'm wrong and XRP goes away, one thing I'm even more sure of is that crypto itself is here to stay because there's real utility to be had with it. And so, custody is an issue. And this is something that all sorts of entities are working to overcome, including PolySign, which is working on, maybe it's more so institutional custody. I'll have to look. I talked about them fairly recently, but they're so in stealth mode that they're not always at the forefront of my mind. But anyway, these are all things that are coming down the pike, for sure. So I want to delve into that piece. I've also got this, which I'm going to share towards the end of the video from Daily Hodl. If cash disappears, it will be an extreme departure from the current balance of financial privacy, says analysts. So unrelated to the main topic here, but an interesting piece nonetheless. But that's why I'm saving it for the end of the video. But before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you would please ever so delicately tap that like button, but don't get all smashy with it. That is unnecessary, and you will not look like a cool guy. You will look like a dork. So delicate love tap will do. And consider subscribing to the Moon Lambo channel if you have not yet done so, because what the hell do you got to lose? You know, might as well. Just give it a whirl. Yeah, why not? Shout out to Paul here. If you're not driving, go ahead and take a look at the screen here. There's a tweet from somebody named Bagsy on Twitter here. And he wrote, retail smashing that buy button when Bitcoin crosses $10,000, which indeed did happen today. And they got this video of this guy. I don't know what the hell he's smashing. I don't know what the context of what we're looking at is going on here. But again, it's, retail smashing that buy button when Bitcoin crosses $10,000. So Paul responded to that and wrote, just delicately tap that like button. No need to get all smashy. And then he tagged me. So shout out to you, Paul. And I could not agree more. This is completely unnecessary. A delicate tap would do just fine. So let's delve into this first piece. German banks requesting to custody Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Government officials in Germany confirmed that several banks have filed a request to launch a digital asset custody business. BaFin, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but there we go. The nation's financial regulator says it has received over 40 applications from parties interested in offering cryptocurrency custody services, reports news outlet Handelsblatt. That just rolls off the tongue. Handelsblatt. Germany's that sounds so German. I love it. By the way, I am largely German, my heritage anyway, so I appreciate it. Germany's updated Money Laundering Act permits banks and other local financial institutions to provide and manage traditional securities, including stocks and bonds, along with digital assets including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and our boy XRP. Digital currencies have become increasingly popular during the past few years. As the market capitalization of crypto assets continues to grow, climbing to $288.3 billion, BaFin is addressing the issue of anonymity and the exploitation of these emerging assets by criminals, money launderers, and international terrorists. The regulator is warning firms that new laws require businesses to have an operational license if they want to offer custody service. And look, everything having to do with money is going to be disrupted heavily. Well, a lot over the next several years in particular, but there's going to be so many shifts occurring over the next, the coming decades, frankly. And given that crypto is here to stay, why would banks the world over not ultimately want to offer custody? They're offering to custody your fiat currency. Why would they not want to custody this? As they're getting disrupted, I think that it's going to become more and more desirable for them to do so. But all these things are going to happen in time. And the cool thing about XRP, though, because understand when we're talking about custodying XRP, this is completely different than banks utilizing XRP to conduct financial transactions, cross-border payments the world over. In terms of settlement, XRP is just used as a bridge currency. Banks don't even have to have it on the books. They don't have to actually buy it. Now, I don't know all the technicals behind that, but even Alex Holmes, who is MoneyGram's CEO, he cited that XRP is never actually on their books ever, and that's for regulatory reasons, because there's a lot of uncertainty from a regulatory perspective as it pertains to crypto, but they found a way to make this work and utilize XRP as a bridge currency. And again, I don't know that there's been specifics about that written anywhere. I mean, you're really kind of getting into how the sausage is made with something like that, and I just haven't seen any pieces about that ever, even though I am legitimately curious about it. But, so again, the cool thing is with all this, banks don't have to hold XRP, but this is separate from that. What we're talking about here is banks holding XRP on behalf of others. So, whereas when it pertains to cross-border transactions with XRP, the reason they don't want to hold it, regulatory issues aside, is they don't want to deal with the volatility of it. But think about why. Obviously, I mean, well, do I even need to say why? I don't need to get into why. But there's somebody that's willing. There are entities out there that are willing to get into the risk of holding cryptocurrencies, XRP specifically. Think about them. They are liquidity pools, cryptocurrency exchanges. They're already holding massive quantities of XRP, and they're happy to take on the risk because it's part of their business model, and they make money on the buying and selling of these transactions. So what we're talking about here is fundamentally different. They'd be holding XRP for the end user. Completely different. They're not taking on the risk. But anyway, German authorities formulated the new regulations after the European Union introduced its fifth anti-money laundering directive, which requires crypto-related companies to ensure that their operations comply with updated Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering processes. FDP, which stands for something so German that I'm not even going to attempt to enunciate it in this video. Feel free to look at your screen if you want to know why. Said the following: the market is growing faster than the Federal Ministry of Finance has predicted. That is both a blessing and a curse. The high demand for crypto custody licenses shows that companies are increasingly adopting blockchain technology, and this is also the result of the new legislation. This is just the beginning, my friends. I am happy to predict that. I don't make price predictions, but I'll tell you what, in terms of big picture stuff, happy to talk about the general direction I see things going. And absolutely, this is just the beginning. There will be lots more of this. Next, here's a tweet from XRP Crow. He's got an infographic out here, which I hadn't seen before, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's new. The quote in it isn't new, but I haven't seen this infographic. So check this out. It's Michael Arrington, founder of Arrington XRP Capital. He also founded TechCrunch. And here's a quote from him. "We moved $50 million worth of XRP into our company in 2 seconds, and it costed 30 cents. It should just be cost, but I'm assuming that Michael Arrington actually said costed. Then here he says, there is no way to do that with fiat or Bitcoin. And exactly, so you might think there's some real world utility to cryptocurrencies. Yeah, they're not going away. Next, if cash disappears, it will be an extreme departure from the current balance of financial privacy, says analyst. Rohan Gray, president at Modern Money Network, a student-led program for promoting public understanding of money, finance, law, and the global economy, says the end of cash in favor of digital currencies run by governments will tip the balance of political power. Gray, a legal scholar and research director at the Digital Currency Fiat Institute, explains that digital cash is emphatically not an account at the U.S. Federal Reserve. Instead, true digital cash that functions like today's cash is actually a wallet network that can send virtual tokens between different online wallets, no intermediary or central ledger involved. And here's a quote from Gray. Problem is that the current monetary ecosystem has both an anonymous/decentralized payments layer, which is physical cash, and a centralized monitored layer, accounts. As viable use cases for physical cash declines, the existing balance of privacy/civil liberties and law enforcement tilts in one direction without any explicit decision by the public. No polity has is that a word that I just don't know? I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know every word on the planet. Is it polity? I'm going to have to, dictionary.com, everybody. No polity has voted to end all transactional privacy, but that's the implicit end result of moving to a digital-centric / near exclusively digital payment system that doesn't have anonymous decentralized cash. Now, conceptually, I find this interesting because I'm not one of these individuals that thinks that fiat currency is basically the devil. I don't have that sentiment. I am not a person that says down with banks, down with government. Most certainly not. So I don't really get behind all of the ideology from Bitcoin maxis, early Bitcoiners. Not that I don't think there are problems with fiat currencies, and that's a topic for another video perhaps, but it's absolutely true. So think about it conceptually, that as paper money goes the way of the dodo, my favorite avian creature that is no longer with us, it's extinct, so goes away the opportunity to engage easily in nefarious activities. Essentially, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about anonymous activity. Everything else is tracked right here. So it makes it harder to get away with stuff if there's no cash here. And so as we head endlessly in this direction, there are certainly implications that society as a whole is going to have to address here. And then the piece continues, the inclusion of anonymous digital cash, he argues, is the conservative approach that aims to maintain the current balance of financial privacy and compliance. An alternative move, building an increasingly digital economy that eliminates digital cash would essentially remove the possibility of privacy in financial transactions, creating an extreme departure from the current political balance. So, interesting. But I guess I'll go ahead and leave it there, but feel free to drop a comment below. I do love hearing from everybody. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!